Hello and good morning and welcome in Africa and welcome in Big Cat Week. What a way to start this morning's safari. And for you guys, my name is Peter Pretorius. Let's go look around.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Welcome to the Djuma and Arathusa game reserves here in the famous Sabi Sands. It's part of the Greater Kruger National Park in northeastern South Africa. More than twice the size of Yellowstone National Park. Iconic animals. This is Safari Live. Welcome aboard on the biggest safari vehicle on the planet. My name's Hayden Turner. I've got two vehicles out, a drone in the sky, trackers out since dawn, and a bush at the moment is a game called Safari Bingo. You can get all the terms and conditions and rules on Wild Safari. Let's go.
Well, it's about time the call came out, I think. It certainly seemed to work. We're spending a bit of time with these lionesses, two of them. Just got another vehicle here next to us, as you saw in the beginning of the drive. There's the other one just to the left. I have a full belly. In fact, so full that she's breathing quite hard. Just look at how she's breathing. Not exactly sure what it's from, but what they've killed, why the bellies are sort of full, we don't know that yet. But that's something we might find out as the morning goes along. Otherwise, just brilliant to start with lions. And these two lionesses are part of the Styx pride. We'll tell you more about the pride as we go along. And yeah, who knows what can happen. Still have a look, but two lionesses could be anything from impala, sort of a medium-sized antelope, up to something bigger, wildebeest maybe. This is quite an open area. We're very close to the airstrip. Look there over my shoulder, that area there, that's the Arathusa airstrip. Oh, but then within the next few months after that, then normally there's successful mating after that, and then new cubs obviously. So if not pregnant, quite soon. But those full bellies, that's from food. Guys, I'm sorry that I was really whispering. I'm very excited, firstly, to have you in Africa with us, and secondly, to be so close to lions is always fantastic. You know, you never know if you're going to find them. This is a massive area. The Kruger National Park, we're in southern Africa, that's where we are. So right in the southern end of the African continent, towards the eastern side, Kruger National Park is a massive area, as Hayden said to you, twice the size of Yellowstone. Huge area, and we're in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve, and specifically Arathusa, where we're sitting now, and Djuma Game Reserve. So very exciting to be here, and I just had to whisper just now because we were sitting a few feet away from another safari vehicle. They only had 6 people on the back though. I think we might have 1 or 2 more. For this experience, I'm going to go around a little bit. We're very close to the, let's call it the human boundary if you want, one of the and therefore you can follow animals off-road. I'm just going to go around to the lioness on that side, and that's why we get these amazing experiences with them. We see them up close, we get intimate personal experiences with their behavior and what they get up to, but that does mean that we can't just drive anywhere. The lions can walk anywhere, they can go anywhere they like, but for us there's some sort of human boundaries we have to respect, and we're very close to that boundary. So we're going to make the most of these lionesses while we can. Here's the other one. Let's try and get you a window. Full like this, I think your words were actually super full. And especially this lioness, she's super full. It looks like she got the lion's share of the food. It takes them, well, they're digesting at a very fast pace, but normally if they've eaten a lot, it'll take 2 to 3 days before they sort of look lean again. away now. She's just watching her, seeing what she's up to. I'm expecting her to get up any second as well and move along, so we should have her walking past us here. Amazing cats. So just to finish that question, if it's a small prey, like let's say an impala, and this is like one good meal, but they've eaten it all in one sitting, they will normally hunt within 2 or 3 days again. But at the same time, if opportunity allows, they will take an opportunity 5 minutes later. So very much opportunistic hunters, and then not eat for 4 or 5 days sometimes. So, oh, just look how beautiful she is. Even with that full belly, graceful, stunning, lethal, and just exciting to see. Whenever you see a lion in the wild, it just reminds you that you are in true wilderness and having a great time. That's what safari is about. That's what Big Cat Week is about. All the big cats of the world, to celebrate them, enjoy them, and what a better way to do it than spending some time with them live. Guys, we're gonna get a last look. Nathan, question there from you. Nathan, you're just asking if this is one pride or whether there are others. The Styx pride typically or originally was 6 lionesses, beautiful lionesses, nice large big girls, and strong lionesses. But then with the Birmingham boys taking over, one of them were killed. And in terms of seeing them, we don't see them together as a pride that often anymore. It's more that we see them normally 2 of them together like this. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get us a last look here. They are going to disappear out of the area. Big bellies, full of food. A lot of eating means a lot of drinking. It's hard work digesting that amount of meat. So this is probably the 2nd drink already, or 3rd drink already this morning. I just keep in mind it's a little bit early and it's a little bit overcast this morning. It's quite cool as well, actually. We are expecting it to get hotter and hotter this week. But this is the early part of summer, so it's quite green already. Sort of have that green-blue tinge to the bush. You can see there the lovely sky. And sort of a hazy morning, very typical low-veld weather conditions. We call this area the low-veld that we're in. We're between the escarpment of the mountains, of the Drakensberg Mountains, down towards the Mozambique coast. So elevation-wise, we're only about 1,000 feet or so above sea level. Just go a little bit closer. This is about as close as we can go. Renee, you are asking there, how long are the talons on a lion or a lioness, the nails? Actually spoke about this. Intimate experiences with them, they get very used to us, but it does mean that we have boundaries, if you want, for us humans where we can go, and that's the reason we can't follow these cats anymore. They can go another probably about 50 miles that direction if they want, without seeing anything other than possibly other lions and wild bush. But just look at that beautiful cat, the Styx females. I'm so glad we could see them in Big Cat Week as well, because they are, of the lionesses in this area, a big girl. So you would be weighing about probably close to 180, 200 kilograms. So let's say, give or take, 400 pounds. That's sort of 2 or 3 of any of us. And when you stop next to them, and suddenly you realize that, you know, I hope they know where animals are very used to us. I mean, I don't mean no danger. If you go and harass them or look for trouble or something like that, obviously they are wild animals. They are top end or sort of apex predators. But typically, they don't associate us with food, at all. Strong pride. You can see the good genetics in them if you want. Just absolutely stunning lionesses. And I know I've said this a few times, but it is lovely to appreciate it when you realize they're big, healthy lionesses. Just want to see where they're going after this drink. They might get a little bit of shade. I'm hoping they move back this way a little bit so that we can see more of them. Just give them a minute. I just want to see what they do. If they settle down, we're going to go to Hayden quickly. He's going to show you something about the sort of the design or structure of lions. But just want to see what she gets up to now. Hello, Dennis. A little bit of stopping there next to each other. Always walking up against each other. Dennis, you're just asking, are lions vulnerable when their bellies are full like that? Not really. Believe it or not, even at a full belly, like a flash if need be. And obviously they're strong as well. Keep in mind, again, lions are at the top of the food chain, as it's been said in that... or Timon, I forget. But
absolutely fantastic. We've got lions. This is so brilliant. As Peter was saying, these claws incredibly sharp. This is the first port of call. They will use those to pierce the skin and hold onto the flesh. If I open this up, I'm going to show you the teeth. These are the most important teeth, the canines. They will do the killing bite. And then you've got these very important teeth at the back here, the carnassial teeth, okay? Shearing or cutting teeth, okay? The last upper premolar and the first lower molar. Those ones are the scissor action down there. And then you've got these ones at the front, very closely put together incisors that do the scraping of the last bits of meat. That is a lioness skull, and that's what makes them the most powerful heavyweights in the bush. Let's cross back to Peter and see what he's up to.
Guys, these lionesses have moved into thick stuff there. I'm going to try and get... That might be the last look we have at them. Guys, but I'm just really happy we could see them. And those guys are from the neighboring area, so they're going to keep an eye on those lions for us. If, let me just turn that radio down. If they listening to radios there, very important, the radio communication, because all the different safari vehicles, the other people on safari like us, are looking around as well. Good trackers, good guides, and we use that network to communicate with each other. So listen, this has been there, this has been there, let's see what we can find. We're going to continue on a little bit. We're just coming up to the airstrip, and as I said this morning, there were reports of Tingana, which is a male shadow, a female leopard, and they were mating in the area of Arathusa Lodge. So we're going to go look around. They haven't been found yet, but I'm hoping at the moment. So we're going to have lots of people joining back with us, and I think we may go across to James to the walk shortly. Look at this lovely pan. This is one of my most, I was going to say most favorites. One of my favorite pans. Just visually it's stunning. The dead tree. It's one of those sort of picturesque little watering holes or watering pans. View. I love views early in the morning. I'll show you where we are. Oops, bumpy. That's the airstrip area, and just lovely open area. That's why we often see zebra here as well. There's the pan, there's a hide, and then this whole open area, obviously where the airstrip runs through. Okay. Well, guys, we are still in break time, so you can sit back and relax a little bit. When everyone gets back, tell them what you've been seeing, and we're going to go to the hyena den. We will see you back here in a bit.
Hello everybody, we've come across to the hyena den here where they are doing not a lot. There are two hyenas here, there's an adult there and an adult off to the left-hand side here. And we're just waiting to see if the young cub doesn't come out. We probably won't spend too long here. There is a lovely atmosphere around here, and so when the TV audience comes back, we'll give them a taste of the hyenas, and then Cat Week to have some big cats. We've driven around here for most of the morning trying to find signs of the leopards of Djuma, Karula, Mvula. Mvula we had yesterday, of course, and unfortunately I think he's probably gone south out of the reserve. He's looking a bit old, and many of you watching on the internet will know him quite intimately. And I've noticed, he's 11 years old, for those who perhaps don't know. I think he's pushing 12 now, and he's starting to lose a bit of muscle mass on his hindquarters. He's getting a little bit floppy around the jowls. And I think he ate a rock monitor yesterday. I think he's coming to the twilight of his years. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. So we've got one more minute to the TV, and as you know, the lions have gone south. We're going to see if we can continue following them, but we'll keep you posted on that front. Welcome back everybody. This is James Henry speaking to you from the hyena den, and we're sitting here with two adult hyenas. There's one in front of us there. Hello everyone. And there's one over there. Two adults here. Now, just to reiterate, if you've just come across this program, you're on a live safari here in the golden dawn of the northeast corner of South Africa. It's a pleasure to have you with us. We're called Safari Live, and you can talk to us anytime you like. Hashtag Safari Live. And if you're playing bingo, Safari Bingo, keep watching out for the bingo words that may or may not happen as it goes. All right, let's quickly go across to a herd of elephants with the bushwalk and Scott. We'll see you just now.
Welcome to the bushwalk, everyone, and what a great start it is to have you on foot with a herd of elephants. And we have to be cautious because there's a lot of females here with their young calves, and they'll protect them quite furiously. My name's Scott, and it sounds like you guys have got off to a great safari with James and Peter. Just testing the wind just to make sure it still is blowing towards us, because elephants have got incredibly strong senses of smell with their trunk, and if they were to smell us, they could get quite worked up and either come and investigate or run off. Both scenarios we don't want. I can still hear a few more in the bushes, and they're probably going to be crossing this small little clearing ahead of us. And I'm just going to try and creep forward, but I'm going to suggest you guys wait there, and I'm going to creep forward and see if I can get a little bit closer and work out how many more are coming.
And millions of termites over the years, opened up by an aardvark or ant bear, that kind of long-nosed ant-eating or termite-eating animal, and eventually then modified by these hyenas. And there's a little cub in there, probably about a month old, and also a 6-month-old cub down in there, just using it for security. The heat is starting to build already. It's just after 6 o'clock in the morning. The heat is starting to build, and I think it's going to hit probably 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. So the hyenas have already got nice and relaxed. These are kind of nursing around not nursing, they're kind of nursemaiding, if you like, looking around, just keeping security here. Probably two males. The females are larger and don't necessarily always hang around. I think that's actually a female there. She's a bit bigger. Hello, Pat in Dallas. Oh, very nice to hear from you, all the way from Texas. Pat, you want to know if hyenas can retract their claws? They cannot. So, while they are more closely related to cats, one of the characteristics that does give them that kind of dog-like appearance is the fact that their claws do not protract or retract. And remember, if you've got a house cat at home, Pat, if you kind of squeeze those claws and they pop out like that, remember, the correct term is protractable, because they can push them out. They don't pull them back in by default. They're in resting position, they're out, so they can protract them. And Hyenas are just like a dog. Their claws are stuck completely out all the time. And these ones will probably sleep here for much of the day. They're largely nocturnal, and they'll just keep an eye out that nothing comes up to threaten the babies. And if anything does, they'll try and chase them away. Otherwise, they'll disappear and just let the youngsters sort themselves out inside the hole, because it's a very safe place for them to be. Lovely question from Angie. Thank you. How often do hyenas move their dens? Angie, they move their dens probably every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe up to a month. And it just depends on, first of all, how much disturbance there is. So if there were lions coming through here on a daily basis and roaring and making a great consternation, they'd probably move fairly regularly. And then likewise, I think after 4 weeks or so, inside the hole where the youngster lives, remember it has its sort of morning constitutionals inside the den for quite some time. There's no vacuuming or cleaning services going on in there, which means it becomes a place of disease quite quickly. And so after 2 or 3 weeks, especially with a young cub, they'll often move. And these hyenas, they form a clan, very territorial clan of 20 at least, and they've got a number of different dens around the area that we know of. This is a particular favorite of theirs, and certainly a particular favorite of ours, because they've got such a beautiful kind of a setting of magnificent trees. Right, let's head across to Hayden in the safari tent. He's going to tell you a little bit about the Queen of Djuma, one of the cats, big cats, one of our favorites that we've been trying to find this morning. We'll head across to him, and I'll see you in a little while.
Fantastic morning so far. Now there's another big cat here that's very, very special, and that's leopards. Everyone loves them. We follow them. We know them intimately. And there's one particular leopard around here whose name is Karula. She is known as the Queen of Djuma. And I've put something together, a little clip for you. I'd like you to introduce you to her. Let's meet Karula.
Karula is the Queen of Djuma. At 11 years old, she is the oldest female in the area. We have been privileged to watch her life as a mother and hunter over the past 9 years. Djuma is at the heart of her territory. She is a formidable huntress, often hauling her kills into trees away from the jaws of scavengers. This allows her to bring up her hungry cubs. Karula is a successful mother, having raised 8 cubs from 4 litters. Being a leopard mother is not easy, as cubs are threatened by other leopards, lions, and hyenas. Hyena will take every opportunity to kill the young of other predators. Despite being an aggressive defender of her cubs, Karula was unable to protect this little one. On New Year's Eve, 2 hyena killed her cub.
It's a tough life out there. They've got to really, really be on their toes. But you know what? That cat has an incredible, incredible history, and we know her intimately, as I said. The Queen of Djuma, Karula. Let's cross back over to Peter now and see what he's up to. I think he's hot on the trail of some leopards.
Well, guys, welcome back on the vehicle here, and obviously beautiful to see all that fantastic stuff about the leopard. Next road. And I must say that is absolutely my favorite leopard, probably of all time. Karula, I've been very fortunate to have known her since a very young age, and she's an exceptional mother. And keep in mind, in the Sabi Sands, only about 30% of leopard make it to adulthood, so 70% if you want don't. And Karula's raised all her cubs except for the last one with Hyena, which was, sad. But speaking of cubs, we are heading to one of her earliest cubs, a female called Shadow. Well, when I say we're heading there, we haven't actually found her, but we're hoping that we're going to go find her. There's some vehicles looking around. That's why I'm covering quite a bit of ground, so sorry for not looking at you while I'm talking. I do want to get there. It's about a 10-minute drive to get where we want to start looking. Hopefully with a bit of luck we can follow the tracks up and find this leopard, and that would be Shadow, which is one of Karula's early cubs, in fact first litter. And I was lucky enough to have known Shadow since she was a little cub, since she was a few months old. She's now almost 10, well 9 really, Karula being almost 12. So lots of leopard activity to understand and enjoy, and hopefully we're going to find one of them this morning. We only have 25 minutes left, so that's the beauty of live. Anything can happen, but it means it must happen while you're with us. So we're going to try and see what we can find. And I think we've got another question as well. Okay, questions a bit later again. Something happening on the bushwalk. Enjoy it. See you back in a bit.
It's a dung beetle, and it's rolling a massive ball of dung. As its name suggests, inside that ball of dung, it's going to lay an egg and then bury the ball of dung, and when that egg hatches, it's going to have a delicious meal to feed on. Now, the interesting thing is that it's probably rolled up a portion of that elephant's herd's dung that we've just been watching, and we've kind of backtracked in the hope that we'd actually find one of these. They've got the ability of flying, and when they obviously smell some fresh dung, they drop out of the sky and then come down using their very powerful arms and legs to craft this perfect ball. It's about the size of a golf ball, to give you an idea. And I'm not too sure where it's planning on going. It could travel quite some distance before it decides it's got to the right spot to leave the egg in this little ball and then move off. And they'll probably roll quite a few balls during the summer months. They're not here in the winter, so a lot of the dung that you see lying around in the summer has been unaffected by dung beetles, and they're incredibly important in getting these nutrients recycled back into the ecosystem. Look at how powerful it is. And I mean, imagine just trying to keep control of where he's going, and what he may do every now and then is crawl up onto the ball and do a bit of a 360 to get an idea of where its compass is at. So not just about the big things, but also the small things whilst on safari. Everything fits perfectly into this ecosystem. And we're going to send you back to James at the hyena den.
So we've moved a little bit around, and this is the larger of the two adults that are here at the hyena den. I think that this is a female, possibly, and we just, if you pull out, Brian's on camera, everyone, if you pull out and just have a look there. What happened, Brian? What's wrong?
What is that on?
Oh, goodness. A pineapple. A bingo pineapple. How very strange. It's almost as bizarre as finding a penguin here, wouldn't you say, Brian?
Definitely.
Thank you, Griselda, for your question. We're not going to discuss the pineapple too much more. Griselda, you want to know why hyenas live in termite mounds? We'll show you the hole where they live, Griselda, and that will explain to you exactly why it is. There's a hole just over there, in the top of the mound there. And, Griselda, they don't live at termite mounds unless they've got little ones. And there's a month-old little one and a 6-month-old little one that in the heat of the day like this will go down into the hole there for safety. And it's purely for safety, Griselda. They like to be in the mound purely for safety. The one on our right-hand side now, you can see a couple of injuries on her or him. It's difficult to tell, but I think probably a female. And you can see there an injury on the leg. And hyenas do a lot of fighting over food, and when they're scavenging, they get injured. They fight with each other sometimes, especially if they're lower ranked. They really need to fight quite heavily for their food, and so injuries are very common. The older the hyena gets, the more manky it tends to look. Ooh, yes, this is not a youngster anymore, quite blunt teeth. And we're going to head off to an advert break just now, but we'll stay here with these hyenas and see what happens with them. A little bit of cleaning. They're not nearly as fastidious as cats when it comes to the cleaning. They do get scratchy, of course, as well. There he goes. Right, we'll stay here. See you shortly. Stay watching. Copy that. Shall we go there? Okay, everybody, we're going to try and get to an elephant bull in Must and see if we can have a look at him. We've got 5 minutes of adverts, so we're going to try and do it quickly. Quickly get hold of fire control. Oh, lots of trees in here. The elephants have made the most horrendous mess. Pushed over everything. Right, here we go. Here we go. It's quite frenetic, this hour of TV that we do. And we move quite quickly. Oh, here we go. This route is going to be this way. But this leopard moved, he only lay down for an hour contiguously. The rest of the time he was moving all the way, and he ate a little rock monitor for lunch, and then he lay in the shade a bit and had a bit of a clean, and he had a very pleasant day, and we had a very pleasant time with him. Sorry, Nyala, Big Cat Week, we will look at you some other time, or Big Elephant Week sometimes as well. So, really a great time was spent with him. And unfortunately, he gave us the slip just before drive started yesterday evening. And I tell you, Scott, me and 2 of the trackers with 2 vehicles, we struggled to stay with him during the day. At one stage we were viewing him on foot from a distance. It was the most special experience to spend time with that cat on foot. Let's head across to Peter, get an update on his search on Arathusa. We'll go to the elephant and we'll see you just now.
There's a little duiker. I'll come back this side. We are in a break at the moment, and we are once again right sort of on the further edge of where we can go. And so if I miss 1 or 2 things from your questions, please don't mind me. That's a little duiker, little antelope. And we are looking as we speak for Tingana and Shadow. The tracks are in the area, they are in the area somewhere. It's just a matter of if we can find them and if we can find them quick enough. So we're going to be stopping and listening quite a bit. And keep fingers crossed. It would be amazing if we could find any leopard always, but Tingana and Shadow mating would be brilliant this morning. Vulture flying away. I'm going to go a little bit forward. We're going to just stop and listen. Leopards mating can make quite a bit of noise. Yes. Sorry guys, as I was saying, we're on the edge of communications, but it all seems good. Let's take a little seat here. Well, welcome back everyone. We've covered quite a bit of ground since we last spoke. And while you were on the break, we've managed to get all the way towards almost the western edge again of where we can go. So we sort of stretching the boundaries of where we can take you. But very, very exciting, and I don't want to get too excited because it hasn't happened yet, and we only have about 15 minutes left of the safari. But we are looking for not one, but 2 leopard at the moment. We have their tracks, and hoping we can find them. Obviously, welcome to Big Cat Week again, because this is brilliant for Big Cat Week. We're looking for the big cats. We've had the lions this morning. If we could find leopard as well, that would be very exciting. The leopard we're looking for is a female called Shadow. I mentioned her earlier on the drive, daughter of Karula, that you know about now. We showed you a little bit earlier. And Shadow is a very special leopard. I've had some amazing experiences with her, as well as Tingana, the male that she's with. And we're going to show you a little bit more about them shortly. We're going to sit here, listen. If we hear anything, see anything, we'll get you back here almost immediately. But for now, Hayden's going to tell you more about Shadow, and you're going to get a good sort of bird's eye view as well. See you just now.
Absolutely amazing to see giraffe from the sky. Look at that. Africa's, or the planet's largest, tallest mammal, sorry. And what a beautiful, beautiful shot that is. There's a bull giraffe, one of our vehicles in the background there. An incredible creature that has found a beautiful niche in the feeding arrangement there for all different species here, and they've capitalized on that tall sort of range of feeding, and they can reach the highest branches. The only competition they really have is elephants. But what an extraordinary shot to see them from the sky. And that wonderful shadow, that's one of the things that in the mornings we see the shadows of these beautiful creatures, elephants and giraffes, and as they're walking along, look at that. Isn't that magnificent? Oh my goodness. It's a perspective that I never thought in my life I'd be able to see all this beautiful wildlife from the air. And our wonderful commander, Andrew Francis, flying this beautiful machine gives us this perspective that is just incredible. Amazing. Shadows from the sky, which is a great little segue for me to Shadow the leopard. Shadow is an incredible leopard. It's one of Karula's offspring, 9 years old. She's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but she hasn't been a very successful mother. She has had no luck at all, only raised 1 young. I've put together a clip to introduce her as well, and hopefully she's going to have some luck in the future, but just take a look at this.
Shadow is a 9-year-old female leopard. Her mother, Karula, is the queen of Djuma. She has carved out a territory next to her mother's. Shadow, unlike most other leopards, does not often hoist her kills into trees. This means many of her meals are stolen. Spotted hyenas are usually the culprits. While the hyena tear into her freshly made kill, she watches from a distance, unable to compete with these larger social carnivores. Unlike Karula, she is not a successful mother. So far, she has lost 6 litters. The male from her 7th and most recent litter is just over a year old. We have had the privilege to watch this cub from birth. Shadow often leaves him for extended periods to go and hunt and even mate, forcing him to fend for himself. Unfortunately, the first big animal that we see him hunt is a domestic dog. He hoists it into a tree but fails to kill it. The dog is caught and found to have rabies. Tragically, this means Shadow's only surviving cub must be captured and taken into quarantine.
It's a tough life out here. It's really tricky for leopards. Lots of pressure, lots of different things happening in their lives. But you know what? They're going to get on. She should have some good luck in their next litter, I hope. Let's cross back over to Peter and see what he's up to. Oh, sorry. We're going to cross over to Scott and see what he's up to.
Well, I'm sure you enjoyed the story about Shadow, that leopard. I'm about to tell you the story about a different leopard, and it's a leopard tortoise. Sadly, this is quite an old carcass, So you can't see any of the usual coloration, but there's this tiny little piece here of a keratin sheath called a scute, which usually lines the bony shell of the tortoise. And like I said, these are called leopard tortoises because of the beautiful coloration and patterns that would usually cover this bony shell. Now, one thing we can tell about this tortoise is that it was eaten by something. You can see how the shell's been broken open here, possibly a young male lion who's been kicked out of his pride and can't hunt for himself, or a hyena. So kind of in situations of desperation, predators will be able to crash through these shells and feed on the tortoise. Not the tastiest of animals out here. Also, what we can tell is that this was a female tortoise, and as I turn the shell upside down, you'll notice that the underside is very flat. Now, the underside of a male tortoise would be concave, so that when it's time for mating and he mounts the female, he kind of fits onto it quite nicely. If his plastron or undercarriage was flat, he would keep sliding off, which would be a highly frustrating procedure when mating. Great stuff. Well, wonderful about being on foot is that you can read into what has happened in the past, not necessarily the future, but at least you can get an idea of what's happened in the bushvelds while we are not here. We're going to continue now and send you elsewhere for some more action. Enjoy.
So we're still at the hyena den, everyone. One of the adults is here, and here comes the other one now. Look, they're so totally confiding to us, totally relaxed around the vehicles. It's just very special. That's my head, sorry about that. There we go. Highly social animals. Now, as you can see, get out of your way, just a quick greeting. And I don't know, I may be wrong about the sex of this one, and I've talked a lot about whether they're male or female. Very difficult to tell because they do both have kind of male-looking genitalia. Genitalia is not a word you want to say too often on live television. You know what, this one's going towards the den hole. I wonder if the little one's not going to come out. Look at this. Look, she's calling the little one. Hello, Kylie. You want to know when the mating season for hyenas is? Hyena don't have a mating season, Kylie. They're non-seasonal breeders. Look at this. Let's hope she's calling. So they'll breed any time of the year, Kylie. There's a little black cub in there. Let's hope that she comes out. Make a great performance for Big Cat Week. And while she's calling, of course, the colour of hyenas could be likened to the colour of what, Brian?
Maybe straw.
Maybe straw. There we go. Okay, let's just hope that this little thing sticks its head out. It will be so special. That might be the mother. Now, Christina, all the way in Washington, where I'm sure the heat is... Oh, here it comes! Here it comes! Here it comes! Look! There's the little one. Isn't that too precious for words? Oh, that's so special. Christina, that little cub, doesn't drink water yet. She doesn't go anywhere but the den at the moment. Far too tiny. What a reward this is for being patient here, I must say. Now, Bill, a very interesting question from you. And those of you, just remember, if you want to ask us questions, hashtag Safari Live is what you need to tweet us on. Bill, you want to know if lower-ranking females will normally stay around the den to look after the youngsters. Here comes another one, or the other one here, just in front to say hello. Bill, no, not always. Often it's the mothers. Sometimes it's the males. You hear that? the little one coming to say hello. I think this is a lower ranking female here in front of us, Bill, making that kind of strange growling noise. Now, David, you've asked a very astute question here. When do young hyenas leave their parents? David, it depends largely on whether they're male or female. If they're female, they will stay within what we call the natal pride, or the natal clan, the clan into which they were born. The males face this fascinating conundrum. If they stay within the natal clan, which they can, they won't mate. It's highly unlikely that they would breed. Only 3% of young hyena cubs are born to males that stay in the clan. The rest are all born to clan members that come from outside. But if you are a male hyena and you leave the clan, what happens is that the new clan that you join, you will become immediately a very low-ranking male. And so while you may mate, you may have the chance to mate, it's highly, highly unlikely that you will be able to feed properly, or you will definitely sacrifice food. Laika, very good question. Is it true that hyenas digest and eat bones? They love bones. Like they're some of the only animals in the world that are able to digest and consume bones the way that they do. They've got very powerful jaws, and combined with that incredibly powerful stomach acids that will digest all but the largest bones. And the only thing they don't digest well is hair, but there doesn't seem to be any animal in the world that can do that. Brian, just quickly up into the tree there. It's a gorgeous southern-masked weaver, shining gold in the sun there. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that beautiful bird. All right, let's head across to Scott on the bushwalk. We'll stay here with this hyena and this little cub and see you just now.
Well, seeing as though James was telling you about hyenas and their incredible digestive systems, we thought it would be a good opportunity to show you some of their poop. And as you can see, it's bright white from digesting lots of bone. Sadly, I can't really break it up as effectively as I would like to, but if I did, it would be very powdery. There's no shards of bone left in there, and that's testament to how good their digestive system is. There's nothing you can mistake it with in the African wilderness. It's the only poop that's white. Back to James.
There we go. There, so you can get an idea there from that dung. A brilliant kind of nice way to see what they do. That dung is white like that because of the bones they eat. So classic question there from David about the eating, or what hyenas eat, and that is of course because of the bones that goes white. Look at the little baby there, and it's starting to get quite hot, and so we're really lucky that they're out. Now we are on the drone shot, as you can see, and just really lovely to get a view of this amazing den site that they have. They've got a beautiful tree coming out of their termite mound. There's shade. There are weaver birds all around. It's the most picturesque place, and if I was a hyena, this is precisely where I'd have my den. You can see the noon stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye. Right, internet people, thank you very much. You are for your faith and stoicism and staying with us. I'm going to ask the final control if they can't give us another shot of the drone there going over. I don't know what it looks like, so maybe it's not good. But the hyenas are being, well, the mother definitely noticed it. The baby hasn't been affected, so I just think it's so nice for you to be able to see where we're sitting with this incredibly picturesque little spot that they have here. Isn't that great? And I mean, you could sit here all day very happily with these hyenas. They are watching the drone going past. They're not affected by it, and they're certainly not nervous. They just seem to be rather interested by this thing that's, that's flying about them. There you can see them watching it, but very relaxed. And I imagine in the same way, excuse me, that they become, excuse me, brief bout of consumption. Excuse me. In the same way that they've become habituated to vehicles, I think you'll find that the animals around here are going to become habituated to that drone very soon. Andrew took some incredible shots of a hippo the other day. He basically landed that thing on its head and it hardly looked around. So wonderful to have that opportunity there. The little one there. Such great value to have these babies here. And hello, Jacob. You want to know when they turn that adult color? It's really a good question, and I'm sorry that the 6-month-old one isn't here. Probably still down in the hole. She has just lost that kind of black color. From about 6 weeks old, that color will start to change. So the more and more time they spend outside of the den, the less they will have that black color. And Jacob, that black color, we think, is an adaptation for camouflage, and it might not seem like a very good one for where they are now. But remember, she spends the bulk of her time inside the hole. And any predator that wanted to go down there and find her, of course, it's very dark down there. It's like a coal pit, and would really struggle to see an animal of that color. So the more time that she spends out in the sun, the more time she's going to need. The more Now, hello, E-Trader. Hollering, I believe you are, from South Florida. Well, I'm so glad that you have taken the time out to holler at us, E-Trader.